What is happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back and it is transfer deadline day. Hoping to do a few of these today. Hoping to do a few, and hopefully there's some news to talk about, positive in terms of Leeds United movement in. I don't anticipate anything going out, but as Danny Farker said yesterday, you never know. And listen, yeah, I wasn't here yesterday, didn't even do nothing on the move. It was a busy day, very hot as well. So I was concentrating on my day off. But look, I'm all in today, all in. So let's go. Please like like the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop your comments below. Gonna touch on the whole game just a little bit as well. It's not going to be an in-depth preview. We'll do score predictions in this one as well. But hopefully, people, we've got a couple of things to discuss in terms of transfers in. There's looking like a deal is off that I've just read now. But for me, that you've got to get in, an important attacking midfielder in this one. I think if we're just going with Tanaka and this fullback here that I've never heard of, so I'm not even going to, act like I've even heard of him before, never seen him play. Know he scored yesterday, but I just feel like you're missing a real secret ingredient here, like a key ingredient in the team. But look, we'll discuss it, man. We'll discuss it. Yeah, guys, I've got that news already. Morning to Ina. Shout out to you, man. And oh God, thank you to Robert as well, who's become a member of the channel. Much appreciated, Robert. And if you want to become a member, the link is in the description. So yeah, Tanaka. Yeah, that one is happening, and we've been linked with this guy for so long. It's one of those where when he joins, it's like, okay, cool, all right, but who's next? You know what I mean? What's next? Because it feels like, like those memes where you say, how many defensive midfielders would you like? And Leeds United just say yes. You know what I mean? It just seems like we got no problem signing these kind of players. And look, I know Tanaka is more advanced than Gruev, which obviously isn't too hard. But yeah, for me, it's a good signing. But 25 years old, I just, like I say, he could be good at this level. I think he will be decent, but I also have an eye on the Premier League, and I don't think he's going to be a Premier League player, which will set us back a little bit in terms of building a profile, which is why it's so important that you go after a Gus Hamer, that you go after a Salai or some, players of that ilk, so that when you're buying these players on permanence, that they can, kind of translate into the Premier League. And listen, I know it's all about getting up there. That's the most important thing, of course, but you have to have one eye in the future. And I do feel like the 49ers will be doing that as well, in terms of the players that they'll be looking at saying, could this player play for us in the Premier League? And obviously with Ramazani, I feel like he could play in the Premier League easily. Solomon is on loan, of course, but yeah, I just feel like you got to have one eye on the future as well, especially when you're doing permanent deals. Horror Sickness saying, morning, KG. Here's hoping they can make our day. It's going to be a long one. Yeah, it feels like it's going to be a very, 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 very long one in terms of today. And when you get in news like this, this for me is like it's not stardust like Georgie or Somerville. And just to make myself clear, those players went for 25 million, 40 million, between them, altogether. That's stardust. But these kind of players solidify you at this level, and he can play in the Premier League as well, no doubt. But it looks like that this isn't going to happen, and it just makes you think, man, what's taking so long? Why do these things take so long? I mean, we know negotiations are tough and complicated, but if there was any doubt that this wasn't going to happen, surely you get this done or have a cutoff date before the deadline day so you can move on. Because it just seems like with us, we do one deal at a time here. I don't know, man. I don't know. No, yeah, Luis, this is, no. I probably need to eat something before. I'm not gonna. Let me just carry on. Bobby saying here, swear Salai was 9 million. Surely they can do that. Yeah, I don't. Sometimes it's not just about that, Bobby. Sometimes there's other things in the deal. Sometimes it's the structure of the payment in terms of the clubs, and sometimes as well it could be the player. We don't know with the player and his agent. Maybe they were using. I mean, I'm not saying they were, but maybe they were using Leeds to hopefully, entice other clubs to come in for him and make him a better offer. You just never know. So there are complicated things behind it, but surely as you as a negotiator, you should be getting a feel of that, knowing where you're going to be. And I also put this on us as well, by the way, because I'm talking about this one and the Harmer one. I just feel like we're trying to. I understand that the purse strings may be tight, and we won't know until Parag comes out with an interview. Maybe it will be after the transfer deadline's done, where he explains the state of play. I don't know if they're going to do that, but maybe he will. But until then, we can only go by our own assumptions. And it just seems like we're trying to do everything with the cheapest hand and trying to get it up with little bits here and there. And obviously that would be great business if the selling club would accept. But if you get a feeling that they're not gonna accept, then you gotta move on or go for more attainable targets for me. Deshaun saying you're not you and you're not. Yeah, listen, you know what it is because because it's deadline day and because everyone is a little bit antsy about the incomings and everything else like that. I'm the same as well. I've just got to control the narrative a bit more for me. I'm going to like screen these comments as well. Matt saying maybe the we tried is coming, yeah, and I've always said on this channel, Matt, even before this ownership, you don't get trophies for trying. You don't get that. Actually, you would get a little something for a particular person if you were trying to move him on, but he said no. You would get a little, compliment from me with that. But overall, you don't get nothing for trying. What is trying? Get things done. If everyone in life just tried something and didn't get it done, then the world would be well. The world is what it is, isn't it? Uh, everyone gets on like outlandish takes. It's all mad. It's all mad. JR Race is saying, I have a gut feeling Harmer time is going to finally happen. You know what? I do hope so, man. And when I read this news yesterday, people, and forgive me, we are going all over the place, but that is pretty much transfer deadline, isn't it? All over the gaff. But we'll go on to Harmer next because when I read this news yesterday, man, I was in Camden Town, man, just having a nice little bite to eat, and then I saw this alert come through. I was like, wait a minute, what? Well, we've offered 10 million. I didn't get because you can only see part of your notification. Then I opened it up and read the report, and I said, oh, interesting, interesting, because we have a bid rejected of 30 million, but now the good thing is we've gone back in. Now I don't know what Leeds were thinking in terms of a possible swap deal with cash, but Sheffield United have obviously rebuffed it. Now on our end, and this was obviously going to happen. Leeds, from Joe Donahue and Graham Smith, Leeds denied their offer Joel Peru as a part of a cash plus player swap deal for Sheffield United. Gus Harmer, well, of course they're going to deny it. You know what I mean? Of course you're gonna deny it when they say no, because when it doesn't go as far as the player, as the club accepting it, and then you talk to the player and say, look, Sheffield United want you. I think it would be a good deal for you. We're getting a man, they're getting you plus money. You could be a key man for them, and it could be a better situation for you. Because it doesn't go that far, of course the club are gonna come out and say, no, 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 that didn't happen. It's like if you've got like this is a bad example, and I'm maybe not talking by experience, but I'm saying it's like if you've got a partner and then you got a sneaky link, and then you've offered to try and pair them up with yourself, but one says no. Of course, you're gonna say, "Oh, no, 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 I didn't really offer that." Of course not, babe. Of course not. I would never do that to your love. What I mean? But that's what it is, and it doesn't look good, does it? Joel Peru's confidence at this football club anyway is on. It's in hell. By the way, whether it be the fans on his back anytime he misses a shot or misplaces a pass, whether it be Danny Farker's confidence in him or lack of confidence in not playing him for the second year in a row. This can't be doing this man any good. You know what I mean? It can't be doing. Honestly, if for Joel Peru's sake, I do hope that if we do get somebody will take him because it can't be doing him any good being here. I'll be real with you. He's come from being at Swansea, where of course situation is different. It's a lesser club, not so much of a spotlight, not so much pressure. He's the main man there. He's He's come here. He's been asked to do things that just look so awkward and foreign to him in terms of that run around pressing stuff, much like Rodrigo under Bielsa. And this might be the final straw. I just don't know how you get this guy back. Maybe what I would like to see. I always say this though, sink or swim. I'd love him to come back into the team and start firing goals and saying, "Oh yeah, you wanted to get rid of me. That's it." But I just don't get that vibe. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. You know what I'm trying to say, Deshaun. You know what I'm saying. Stephen saying Peru will be well. Yeah, yeah, I would be too. I would be too if I was him. I just think that the move all over, even though for me last season he did very well considering he played central midfield a lot of the time to get into double figures overall. I just feel like the move has just been. And I think this him being offered out in this deal for Gus Hamer is kind of like the cherry on top for me. Because I don't think he's a bad player. Let me reiterate, I don't think Joel Peru is a bad player at all. And I think if he does move to another club, he possibly gets his mojo back and he looks like the Peru that was at Swansea. I just feel like altogether, whether it be Daniel Farker's lack of faith in him, the fans always on his back anyway, anytime he doesn't run around like a headless chicken, or when he puts a shot wide, they're just, groaning at him. I just don't think it's done him any good here, honestly. Um, and where adventures be. And let's continue with this. Top show, brother. Yeah, so it's all right so far. Yeah. How do we not have 10 million for Sly, but we have 13 million for Hammer? Okay, this is a question I've dealt with many times before. Guys, if you've got 20 million in the bank for a player, one player could be worth 20 million for you, but are you going to buy a player that's worth 1 million for 20 just because you've got 20? No, you're going to have different valuations for different players. But my thing with this is that you're dealing with Salai and Harmer, which are a, a, they add to your transfer window rating big time for me, especially Harmer. So if you're gonna if Salai is off the table, go invest that money in Harmer. Stop trying to do, put a Red Bull on the table where Sheffield United want real Red Bull and we're offering a Boost Energy and a Milky Bar. Go give them what they want, not what they want completely, but meet them a bit closer to where they want to be, and stop trying to. It just feels like we're always trying to do things on the cheap when it comes to these kind of players. Yeah, wages too. Yeah, in terms of that. Yeah, Archie saying, like you always say, people moan about players jumping ship, but the club is quick to bin them off. Yeah, Archie, yeah. I always give that example. And I mean, you've seen it at Chelsea and people acting like what Chelsea are doing is anything new, but clubs do that through time. It's just that with Chelsea, because it's so frequent and with the players that they just churn in and out, that people think that it's like workplace torture, but it's not. It's what clubs do, and clubs have done worse than what Chelsea have done in the background. Do the whole training by yourself and training with the kids and everything else like that. It is absolutely nothing new. I've spoken to so many players that when they are surplus to requirements, the club make it as uncomfortable as possible. I wish we would do it a little more. I'm not gonna lie. I wish we would make it a little bit more uncomfortable for for certain players at this football club when it's time for them to move on. But yeah, we don't do that. Yeah, it's a 50p isotonic. Yeah, I guess that is just me being frustrated with these kind of deals. It's like you know what you're getting with these players. For me personally, anyway, I speak for myself. Harmer, Salah, you're talking about the now and the future. You're talking about they're going to help you get promoted and they're going to be an asset for you in the Premier League, which in turn means you don't have to spend so much money. Whereas for me, with someone like a Tanaka, when we go up, Gruev and Tanaka are big. I mean, they're massive question marks for me whether they could play in the Prem consistently. So you're going to have to then invest in big time in another defensive midfielder yet again. Whereas in Harmer, when you're getting him, he can play in the Premier League. He's already proven it. He's already proven it, and he didn't look out of place. 10 goal involvements in the second worst team in Premier League history. But I just feel like whether the finances are too tight, people, we don't know this. So again, we're talking as fans here, whether they are too tight in order to do it. But if they are, move on from these people and go to somebody else. Because I gotta say, look, I'm not gonna give my rating yet. We're gonna have to wait until the end of the day because a lot of things can change. But if it is Tanaka and the Schmidt fullback, uh, yeah, it's not a great window overall, but it's still enough to get promoted. Let me make this clear: people will get confused by these messages, and that's fine. It's still enough to get promoted, but I don't think you've future proofed the team enough. Whereas when if we had gone up with Gray, Somerville, Jorginho, that is such a lovely base to work from. But we are going to have to do a lot of work when we do go up. You know what I mean? Ming here saying Peru between a rock and a hard place. Yeah, look, and the thing is, I like the guy, I really do, and I think that he is a very good footballer. But I can just see it when he plays. He doesn't play with freedom here, and maybe it's a case on him as well. Put it on him too. Maybe he's another one that just can't handle the pressure of playing at Leeds United. It could be one of those two. See, I'm not absolving anyone of blame here. The fans, Daniel Farker, Joel Peru. I think everyone has got a part to play in this. Because Joe Peru, like I say, you can turn around and use this adversity and say, "Oh, you wanted to get rid of me? Here's what I'm made of." But we shall see if we get that. Yeah, I agree with that. He works better in the two up front, him with him just behind the striker. Yeah. Random guy, Peru walks into any championship side. Well, obviously not random guy because Sheffield United said no. So he doesn't walk into any. But I know what you're trying to say. Luke T saying here, we all know how quality they are. Just pay the money and start playing low ball. Yeah, and Luke, it's not always just about just pay what they want, but get close to it because it sounds like we're not getting anywhere near what Sheffield United want. But this is I mean, never mind the fact that it weakens the rival, but they are open to selling because if they weren't open to selling people, there would be more definitive messages coming from that side to say he's going nowhere. But we haven't heard anything like that. It's more of a case of he's agreed terms. He's agreed terms. Oh God. I'll answer that in a bit. He's agreed terms, so why not just go the extra mile and pay what Sheffield United want? If you've agreed terms with the player, why not go the extra mile and get the deal done, please? You know what I mean? But that's the frustrating thing for me. And if we end with not a player like Salai or Harmer today, yeah, I'll be very underwhelmed. I'm not going to lie to you. Um, let's have a look. Chris saying here, first get promoted, then look at the squad. Yeah, Chris, I listen, I do understand that, and that's where I always go with like the Joe Rothwells, those kind of signings, the loans that will help you get up, and then you can discard them, not discard them, but you move on from them because Joe Rothwell for me isn't going to play in the Premier League. He's going to barely play for us in the Championship. Looking at the signings we're making in terms of Gruev already keeping his spot, and then Ao Tanaka being a permanent signing. I think he's going to play more than Joe Rothwell. But also, Chris, you've got to look at it and say, if you can get an 18 million pound asset in Gus Harmer now and in the Prem, look how much money you're saving when you get to the Prem. You know, where you're going to get charged more because you've got Premier League money. Players like Harmer, you're probably looking at someone else then. They're going to cost a lot more than 18 million. So it's kind of like future proof in that in terms of having quality now and then. But I agree, you do have to go up first. But and this squad is good enough to go up. I still wholeheartedly believe in that because what I don't want everyone to lose sight of is that this league is crap. Okay, and we still have better players than a lot of the teams in this division. Most of them, in fact, you may be looking at Burnley, Sheffield United, and saying it's close, but the rest of the teams in this division are absolutely crap. So we should still go up. So there is that. Um, let's have a look. Spence saying, if we don't get a quality striker in, I feel it will be the same as last season. We had more than enough to go up last year. Yeah, we did have more than enough to go up, Spence. That and the prices that the players that have left tell you that. And the fact that some people weren't prepared for those people to go is very funny to me. And it kind of shows how much some of the fans as well underrated some of the players that we had. But have you seen that Burnley were trying to get? I think Kelly Osho, they were trying to get 40 million for him. They were trying to get like a Rutter deal for him, and they weren't getting it. But that's how special some of these players were. That's why it is criminal why we didn't get promoted. But he still has enough tools in his bag, especially with Solomon coming in, if he can stay fit. And that is the big thing for me. I thought it was kind of mad that his first picture in training, like they showed his knee, and his knee looked his knee looked sewn together, didn't it? One of those. But and obviously Ramazani, but it's just overload on that left hand side. I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of rotation and you know fluidity in that front three, but yeah, we just like overloaded that side. And Dan James is currently out with a hamstring injury, as he said in the press conference. I did not listen to the press conference in full, people. I'll be very transparent with you. The first 10 minutes of that press conference was very hard to listen to. The questions, I don't know who the lady was that was asking questions. They were very banal, very rubbish questions, and I just turned it off. I didn't get anything out of it. So I admit I did not listen to that press conference in full, but we knew Pat Bamford was going to be missing. Dan James is missing. Maybe Nonto now goes on the right. Solomon starts on the left. Maybe Ramazani starts off the bench. We shall see against Hull City, but I just find it weird that we've overloaded the left hand side and just left the right hand side completely free. I don't know. Um, Bricks on the coast saying, if we only get Tanaka and Schmidt today, we still have enough to go up. No excuses. I agree that this is it. This is what I mean. I think people will get confused by my messaging, and people get confused anyway, even if I speak in plain English sometimes. But yeah, we do still have enough to go up. Absolutely. If Daniel Farker can't get this team up with the additions that we've made, then there will be more excuses. He's already making excuses, by the way. I heard it in that first 10 minutes about the squad being small and everything else like that. Please, there's other small squads in this league as well that haven't got the quality in their squads that we do in this one. They don't. So I don't want to hear any excuses. There is more than enough, but for me, you just put it over the top if you get a Gus Hamer in. That would just cement it for me, and it bumps up the rating big time as well on the window for me. Uh, let's have a look here. Yeah, get him in. I see it as a good window. Yeah. Darren here also saying after Tanaka, one fullback and one attacker, no excuses. We are stacked. And yeah, look, just quickly on the fullback, uh, and that was reported by Patrick Berg. I'm not going to go into the article. Obviously, it's very, very old now in terms of yesterday. But yeah, he scored yesterday in his game, doing the old. I think that reminds me of Jeff Hardy and all that. I'm a Jeff Hardy guy. But yeah, I don't know anything about him, people. So I'm not going to talk about him. I'm going to put my trust in the scouting system in terms of this one. Never heard of him. Never seen him play. That's where I am with Isaac Schmidt. But apparently, he can play all over the gaff, which obviously we love in terms of versatility. So at least we aren't going without a fullback. That for me was a key area that we did need to address. I would have preferred an out and out left back for me, but it looks like we're doing that whole thing again with Byram being the inverted left back if Firpo's not playing. And he looked comfortable there last season, but we're a year older. See how he looks in that position this season. But why can't we just go and get a left back? That's the thing for me. Everything we do at this football club, honestly, just seems to be so hard. And it's not hard. But the thing is, as well, what it does, and this is where I have to come in, is it makes the fans believe it's hard. And it isn't, people. It's not hard to get an out and out left back. It's not hard to get a 10. It's not hard to get a right winger. These things aren't difficult. But this football club historically over the last feels like 10 years makes everything difficult in terms of just getting a player for their position. It does. But and you'll see other teams. We need a left back. Oh, look, there's a left-footed left back that is a positional left back. But we always get a player that is a right back but can play left back. It's just oh man, yeah, yeah, Andy, the rare left back. Yeah, you'd think they're like bloody unicorns the way that we trying to acquire left backs. It's crazy to me. Darren here saying, I feel we are, I feel we are need. Oh God, I feel we are need. Darren, man, come on. Okay, let me go. I feel we are in need to get someone that can play the 10. I don't trust Farker. He will mess it up without a creative 10. Yeah, listen, Farker's got the tools. I've already said with Farker, he does need the star players to help him through. He's not a coach that will bring the talents forward. We saw that last season. It was Somerville and Jorginho. And anyone that is disagreeing with that, Farker said it himself. All right, he said it himself in the press conference. Large portion of our attack was through Jorginho and Somerville. So it's not me saying that now. It's Daniel Farker, two people. But yeah, no, if he messes it up, Darren, then if we are not where we should be this season at a certain point, you've got to ask questions about it. But look, let's hope he gets it right. Darren, I've always said I hope he gets it right because it means we're doing what we should do. I don't want to change managers for the sake of it. I've already said as well, it's a slippy path, especially in this league. If you don't get someone better than Daniel Farker, you go around the carousel of championship managers and then you just become a championship club yet again. And I mean real championshipy in terms of no parachute payments. The quality players go, you're getting in these players that, oh, they could be good. It's just a vicious cycle. So just get it right, Daniel. Don't keep looking for the excuses. Look for the solutions. Okay, you can do it. Tashawn, can't lie, I have zero faith in Farker. Tremendous. In terms of the striker, though, there's going to be nothing happening with that. I mean, unless Peru does go, we're not getting another striker, people, and that's the reason why I haven't really spoken about it. Because while we've got Bamford here, and by the way, who Daniel Farker keeps on talking up as a top championship striker, we aren't getting in another forward, people. It's Joseph right now who's our number one, as he should be, and then it's Bamford and Peru as our other options. And unless one of them goes, people, it's pointless talking about getting another striker, especially where Daniel Farker will probably look at it and say, "Well, I could play Solomon on the left or Ramazani on the right and put Nanto up front if there is in case of emergency." And he will be looking at those kind of scenarios. It's not ideal, of course, it's not, but we are not going to sign another striker while those three are still here. Um, Jag is saying Farker has to do it this season. He has been backed. I feel he was back last season, Jag, with the players that he got to keep. And these are things that people don't take into consideration. He got to keep Jorginho, Rutter, Somerville. You know, he got to keep those players in the championship, people. He's been backed again. Solomon, as long as he stays fit. And I hate that I have to keep saying that with that guy, but it's important, man. He's come off some bad knee injuries, like real bad. But if we can get, you know, a string of games out of him with the quality that he possesses at this level, he will help. Ramazani, he's going to be an asset. Nanto, he'll be an asset. There's a lot of talent here that Varka's got to work with 100%. But yeah, we're gonna speak. Look, we will speak about it when we rate the window later. But it's not the time right now. Not the time right now. And I'm already a little antsy, as people can probably tell. Um, Ali said, "Oh, Ali, this is a good question. If we sign Salai or Hamer, have we got a stronger squad than last season?" That's a good question, because yeah, when you're talking individual talent, and even the way we use Archie Gray, he wasn't using his midfield position. He was a right back, which he isn't obviously. But he, as we've seen with Spurs, he's been playing centre back and everywhere, hasn't he? In terms of a stronger squad, probably not stronger, but I would say more well rounded if you get one of those two. So whereas you had three players that were basically the same in Ampadu, Gruev, and Kamara, this time you've got Tanaka, you've got Rothwell in there, you've got Ampadu, you still got Gruev. I would say it's more rounded than last year. Centre backs, you got Strank more fit. He's fitter this year. Yeah, I would say that it's more rounded, but your best shot was last season. It definitely was last season, but yeah, yeah, more balanced. I would say that. Yeah, more depth as well, not stronger. Yeah, so yeah, that I agree with those points for sure. But we should have done it last year. But anyway, that's gone. That's gone. That's gone. Darren saying, I think stronger, more competition, except the goalkeeper. Yeah, Darren, what's going on with the grammar, man? What's happening, man? You usually better than this year. I don't know, but yeah, I agree with that. And look, that will go into my rating as well, which is probably unfair. But we literally could have raised some money for the goalkeeper. You know, championship goalkeeper of the year, 19 clean sheets. You know, if you ignore his actual individual goalkeeping statistics, where he was bottom of the league, bottom half of the league, I feel we could have got money for him, strengthened with a £1 million goalkeeper, maybe even £2 million, maybe even a lone goalkeeper. And you could have strengthened it and not penny pinched everywhere else in terms of getting in a Hammer. And for me, you could have easily strengthened the goalkeeper slot. And it's not difficult with Melier in goal. It's not difficult at all. And that will go into my rating as well for me. Maybe harsh, but it's my rating. As I say to people, your rating is your rating. Like, you don't need to get at me for my rating. I won't get at you for yours. We all have individual things that we mark for our ratings. Mine just get harsher as the years go by. I'm not gonna lie. Lewis saying here, I thought you would go after Marseille. Yeah, and even if not Marseille, surely there was somebody else that could have been interested. And you don't have to ask for a king's ransom, familiar. I know the rumor was 20 million, but if you could get anywhere near that for that goalkeeper, you'd have been laughing, absolutely laughing. And you could replace him with someone better. You know, Rodak was there for free. Yeah, that position was so easy to upgrade, and the goalkeeper and striker at this football club is just not strong enough for me overall. Still good enough to go up. Don't get me wrong, but it's not strong enough for what Leeds United should be. Chris saying less depth at centre back though. Can't believe they let Charlie go. Yeah, I mean we know he doesn't like him. I mean it's not really a secret, is it? But yeah, Roden, Strauch, Verba's still here though. Chris, So for me, that is good depth. And then of course there's Debayo as well for the fourth centre back, because you're not going to get a Bombadilli to be a fourth centre back. That's just not going to happen. He's not going to go from playing no football at Nottingham Forest to come to Leeds United on loan just to be a fourth centre back. So I think Debayo is a good prospect. He's looked very impressive in pre-season, as we know. Obviously, real games are different, but yeah, I think the centre back is actually stacked for this level as long as Verba stays. Um, yeah, I don't think Patricio would have come here, Tom, but I get that. I understand that. But yeah, listen, people. I mean, look, we'll be back at some point today. I'm not setting any times. I'm going to wait for the news to flow before I come back on. Because if I set a time and then nothing happens, there'll be a nothing show. So we're going to wait until something's confirmed in terms of Tanaka, hopefully Hamer. Leeds, stop messing about and go back in for Hamer. Seriously, will you? Stop all this penny pinching stuff. I'm not saying break the bank or break the rules, but get close to what Sheffield United want, because they are obviously willing to sell and are accepting that he could leave the football club. Get the deal done. And just think about the lift it would give everybody. Well, most people. I think a few of you don't rate Hamer, which is fair, okay? But a lot of people would be absolutely buzzing if we get in a Gustavo Hamer. Yeah, Matt here. I mean, if we get Harmer, we walk the league or close to it, Matt, because we've still got the Leedsy side to us. We've still got that in our locker, in our arsenal. We can still Leedsy it up at any point, Matt. But the sentiment is absolutely right. You get Harmer, for me, the top two is locked on, absolutely locked on, especially with all the outgoings with Burnley and their new players that they're going to have to bed in. I think Sheffield United will be very strong. I do, but you're talking an absolute game changer here. But look, we will see what the 49ers are made of, people. And look, we will be back later today. Don't know the time. So listen, just put the notification bell on, people, and we'll come back and discuss whatever news is happening on this transfer deadline day. Listen, drop your comments below, like the video, subscribe. I'm gonna go get something to eat, and I'll see you in the next one, people. Peace out.